매번 야야야야야 불러 널 야야야야 내 맘을 고백하려고 타이밍만 보는 나 그런 나를 넌 보며 왜 그러냐고 묻네 너 때문에.
Taking the cup of a hot espresso in your hands, you entered inside your boss's cabin without even asking for his permission, like always. Your boss was immersed in his work, looked up from his computer, and removed his specs. Jungkook rolled his eyes and signaled you to keep the coffee on his table, which you did with a big smile on your face. You stood back at your place and bowed at him, which made Jungkook raise his eyebrows in surprise. Jungkook scrunched his eyebrows and placed his cup on the table and relaxed himself on the chair before asking you. You squealed in happiness while joining your hands together and looking at Jungkook dreamily. Jungkook, who was now confused about how he spilled the beans, looked at you with horror in his eyes. You smiled at Jungkook and flipped your hairs back. Finally, coming back to your professional self, you switched on the iPad in your hand and read out Jungkook's schedule for the day. You smiled at Jungkook and made a finger heart in his direction before turning around and moving towards the door of the cabin when Jungkook's voice stopped you on your way. Jungkook tried his best to not pout, but he huffed and pouted a little. I mean, how can you forget it? He shook his head grumpily and you walked out of his cabin, tilting your head as if you were thinking about something. Jungkook grumbled under his breath and rolled his eyes. Well, he was pissed. How can you forget such an important day? This was the first time. You and Jungkook have known each other since you were in your diapers and did not forget it even for a single time. But why now? Both of your families have been friends since your grandparents, and the legacy continues. 3 months ago, you asked Jungkook out after telling him about your feelings for him that you have developed over time. But Jungkook was burdened by so much at that time that he said no to you. When you asked him for the reason of him saying no to you, all he said in response was, "You know the news of the business deal of Arizona? I'll be busy in it for most of the time. I don't want to upset you with my absence. Let's not talk about this when both of us are stable in our lives." You knew for sure that Jungkook liked you too, but it was just his cold nature towards everyone which was stopping him from choosing his own happiness. But you are one of the determined kind of person. So the next thing, Jungkook's secretary resigned because of some urgent work and you replaced her. When Jungkook saw you in his office for the first time, he could not believe his own eyes that he had to confirm that you have become his secretary and standing in front of him by touching you, as if he thought he was hallucinating. "Now I won't feel your absence. I'll be staying with you for the most of the time. Isn't it great, Mr. John?" was all you said. Now, ever since then, you are here working for Jungkook. Well, this was all done because you needed some work experience before you start handling your own business. You walked in the meeting room along with Jungkook, who opened and held the door for you. You smiled at him but signaled him to go ahead first. There was not a single person in the room who did not know who you actually were, so no one dared to speak a single word. But there is always a biz, right? Right? You closed your eyes briefly for a second and smiled at the lady. Jungkook, who had already made his way to his chair, did not hear this, so you did not want to create a mess. But you are not going to tolerate her words, that was for sure. While following Jungkook, you slightly kicked her chair without anyone noticing, which made her slip and let out a yelp. You looked at her with a pitiful gaze, acting all innocent as if her chair slipped because of air. You knew one thing, and that was the biz can really make a fuss out of it. but she knew better to not mess with you. You just wanted to roll on the floor and laugh your ass out. When she gritted her teeth, flipping your hair back, you walked towards Jungkook and sat beside him like usual when you heard one of the investors speak.